The next step is to put down this self-leveling compound. It's like a slurry that you mix with water and then pour it onto the floor, and it levels itself. You can see the crew here he's got to do this.
I guess you mix, Andrew, and you mix, and Sappho, you keep them with the bags and the buckets. Yep.
So you can see we got a lot of buckets here and a lot of people, because what you want to do is keep a constant movement with this product. When you start, you want to be able to continually pour the product on the edges of itself so that it doesn't start to harden. So it's important that you keep a crew available to mix the product while you got a couple other people in actually doing the leveling, and you'll see them start doing that here in a minute. But right now they're just kind of getting ready, prepping to get everything going. So they've got some big garbage cans full of water here. They're lining up all the bags and all of the product here. They're starting to mix. You see we got these drills with the mixers on the end, and they'll probably get 4 or 5 buckets going at one time, and then as they're carrying those in, then they'll start mixing another 4 buckets, so that you're continually having buckets being carried in. One of the things that's really neat about this, you see that big orange garbage can there with the buckets floating around in it. You'll see here in a minute what they did to make sure they get a proper measured amount is they cut a hole in the edge of the bucket. You can see here, right there, that hole, and that's their measured amount. So they just dip it in, and all the water runs out of that hole, and you know you've got the measured amount you need for your mix, and then they just go pour it in there. So that's a pretty neat trick, I thought. Here you go. You got the guys mixing it in preparation for bringing it in and pouring it. And here they go. They're starting to pour the product in. They're starting in the office in one of these back closets, which is kind of a deep and narrow closet. You see the guy carrying the buckets there. He has like cleats on, like athletic cleats. And the gentleman here who's doing the screeding here, he told me he forgot his cleats, so he's got his boots on, so he doesn't want to walk in this stuff with his boots, so he's trying to kind of stay outside of this. But what he's got in his hand is a kind of a screed that has 2 adjustable metal bars on each end that allow you to set the depth, so that when you're moving this back and forth, it moves a certain amount of the product around and sets a depth. Kind of hard to see there, but if you look on each end of that kind of light blue thing that he was using there, you see those little metal, look like U-shaped deals sticking up, and that's how they set the depth of the product. And then you just drag this thing across, and it smooths it out. It's hard for me to kind of get in and get a view of this while he's trying to work, but trying to just peek around his legs here a little bit. But once he comes out into the room, you'll be able to see it a lot better. Here you see he's pulling the excess material out. And then pushing some back up against the wall here. And you see as he drags it, you can see those marks where the little guides are rubbing the floor, but that will fill back in because again this material is wet, and that's the purpose, is that it fills back in. And I'll be quiet here for a minute and just let you guys watch them work. Even with them mixing, it's still taking a while. You need an extension on your handle there, bro. You need an extension on the handle there. Now here's the next day, and it's dry, so I'm walking around on it, and you can see how it's leveled out here. Kind of milky looking, almost looks like a milkshake poured out on the floor. Here we are back in the office, and you can see there's one little place in the corner that wasn't quite filled in, but they'll come back and fill that in later. Here's that closet that he was trying to get back into. It's pretty deep and narrow, so that's why he was having a little bit of an issue getting back in there. But it's nice and level now. It's looking good. That's looking down into the storm cellar. Back the hallway. Back in past the powder room into the master bedroom here. It looks good. Now, I expected this to be perfectly level after they did this, but there were a couple of spots where the product didn't run back together totally, and there were some places toward the edge of the wall that were missed. So you'll see in this next video clip that's coming up that they did come back in afterwards and apply some additional leveling with like a hand trowel, and just kind of troweled it out and smoothed it in to make sure everything was smooth. And they brought those long straight edges back in that they had used before when they were grinding the floor, and laid out just to make sure that everything was level. Here's an area here you can see this darker area, and that's where they've hand leveled a couple of things that they didn't think was exactly level. This is going back through the mud room into the guest bedroom here, and then back into the living room and den. You see they have that long straight edge there. They have their grinder. They have some trowels and some other items that they're going to go back in and make sure the floor is absolutely level before they start laying the planking back down, which is very nice. But I think they did a really good job with this. Here we're going back into the pantry and then looking back out over the kitchen. So again, if you followed along with these videos, you know there's quite a few in this series. Remember to subscribe so you'll be able to see them all, and also look in the description below for links to the other videos.